How's everybody doing tonight? Well, actually, it's not everybody tonight. It's how's everybody on Rumble and Twitter doing tonight? Because YouTube did a auto ban because their AI thought this Winchester was a real thing, not a wooden model, and they did a ban, and I appealed the ban, and it was overturned immediately. But it like wasn't. I don't know. There's still like a live restriction. There shouldn't be. I mean, I talked to them in the chat and they said there shouldn't be, but they were like, oh, it takes time, wait 24 hours. Seems like kind of BS. I started um, listening to that Think and Grow Rich, which I probably skimmed it in the past, but I started listening to it as an audiobook this morning while I was putting the seat covers on my car, and I'll tell a story about that in a minute too. Anyway, in that Think and Grow Rich, it's kind of like a metaphysical type of a book. Anyway, whoever is the Force in Star Wars, kind of like that. And I guess the negative version of the Force. I don't know if they have a name for it in Think and Grow Rich. I know the old time name for it was like animal magnetism or something like that. Or the ether. But I think ether was used by Tesla in other ways. Anyway, whatever they call it, the negative version of it in this book, the 1.5 chapters that I listened to so far, they're like one of the favorite things to do from the negative, ether, force, magnetism, whatever, is to like make you fail when you're one step from completion. So hearing that on the same day or the morning after YouTube locks me out of my account was very encouraging, because then I felt like, oh, I must be close. It's kind of like when someone posts something online and then they get attacked by bots and they're like, oh, I guess I was over the target. Someone thought enough to attack me. Anyway, here's the Winchester. It looks like it's done. Is this what the Terminator Schwarzenegger carries in the Terminator movie? At least the first one. I remember there was some scene with some roses or something, like a box of roses, and does he pull this out of that? I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a handle missing, so I guess we're going to do the handle today. We're up to 192 out of 247 pieces, so we're close. I don't think we're going to finish tonight just because we got a late start, but we'll get something done. Let's see. We were up to 3-7, which I believe is segment 3, panel 7, which I believe is this. I'm not sure what they're even showing us there. I mean, there's two B19s and a C17. I understand that. And then where does it have to go? Let's see here. Is that it? Is that what they're trying to show us? Yeah, I think that's it. You see those two like squares? Is it just a sight? Yeah, I think it's just they're just adding a sight, So like right here. Oh, sorry, hold on. The instructions were blocking it. So like right here, there'll be a little like iron sight or whatever it's called. Anyway, let's build that. So 2 B19s and a C17. That brings us up to 195 pieces. So I've been doing this, 528 days? And is that it? 528 days? So not even 2 years yet. So I'm still like a complete rookie at this. I figure, I mean, how long does it take to be competent at your reel? job, like at least 5 years, right? So I figure that I'm not competent at this yet. So don't get too encouraged at the idea that you know that YouTube locked me out, so it must be a good sign, because really, I've only been doing this a year and a half, so I'm sure that I'm not. Maybe I'm doing something useful, but it's gonna get a lot better, I'm sure. Anyway, why did I start saying that? I've been doing it for a year and a half. Oh, right. So I've been doing it for a year and a half, and it's been fun. But today, I thought of dropping out, or they call it opting out, of the review program. And it has nothing to do with the puzzles. It has to do with my car. So, a month ago, I got a new car. So before that, I drove a Kia Borrego, which you probably never heard of. You might have heard of the Kia Telluride, which is a 3-row crossover SUV from Kia. There's a Kia Mojave that they sell only in Korea. But they did sell it in the US for 1 year as the Kia Borrego. And that was kind of the precursor to the, what is that? The Telluride. It came out like 10 years in advance. And we were lucky enough to get one. I think there's only like 4,000 of them in the U.S. or some ridiculous number like that. You can look them up online. They all go like 150 to 250k miles. And they're still going strong. And ours went strong for 14 years. And we kept it stock the entire time. We didn't do any upgrades. I mean, we did tires and brakes and, oil changes. But the only repairs that we did were the wheel bearings on one of the wheels. And that was my fault. I broke it hauling 2,000 pounds of tiles across town when it was only rated for like 1,600 pounds of payload. It was loaded into the back of the car, 2,000 pound of tile. It's a long story that I'll tell someday. So I'm responsible for breaking those wheel bearings, and then in the last year, there was one thing we fixed and two things we didn't fix, which is probably the reason why we traded in the vehicle. The one thing we fixed was the back hatch wasn't staying open. It had at least 2 hydraulic pins, and when they both went, the back hatch didn't stay open. So we got those fixed. That wasn't even expensive. That was like an easy fix. And then there was a rip, and then there was 2 things we didn't fix. There was a rip in the front passenger seat, on the actual seat. It was like went right across the middle. I think I even remember when it happened. I don't remember what happened, but I think it was like several years ago, something happened, and I was like, that's probably going to develop into a rip at some point. So it did in like the 13th or 14th year or whatever. Basically, that seat ripped. So we did not even a seat cover on it. We just put like a pillow on it. So I don't know if you want to consider that. We didn't repair it. We sort of covered it up. And then when we traded it in, there was still a problem. There was a tail light that was out, which had been out several times, but this last time it wasn't being fixed by changing the bulb. So presumably it was wiring, and that was like the last straw. That was like the week before we traded it in. The taillight couldn't be fixed, so we were like, okay, well, we were going to trade it in anyway. We were trying to hold off. I don't know what we were trying to hold off for. We'd already had it like 14 years and 100k miles, and we clearly had gotten our money's worth out of the vehicle. In fact, I would say we did amazingly well. So there was no reason not to trade it in. We traded it in, and we got 2024 Toyota 4Runner. And I'm loving that car so far. Very happy with that. What I'm not happy with is myself. So I kept the Kia Borrego. Can you believe I can't get these stupid little pins in? So we kept the Kia Borrego stock for 14 years. Everyone was happy with that decision. Went great. It's like I'm telling you the story now. That's how great it went. I don't know why basically because I'm in this review program and they give me free crap, I started picking up some of it. And I shouldn't have. It's almost like one of those lessons. Like, I did pretty good for so long. Like, I just was getting puzzles and workout equipment, and then just essentials. Like, once in a while they would have pop chips or something like that, and I would get those. Or dog treats. I got I got so many things of dog treats from the review program. So I was really trying to do good. The gym had gotten a little crowded. We had to donate some stuff. You probably seen me review the stuff. It's no longer in my gym. I donated it. But the car, I feel like I ruined my brand new car. I mean, it started the first day with cup holders and stem caps, which we never changed the cup holders or the stem caps for 14 years in the Borrego. Of course, the stem caps got changed over time. You lose them and you get valve stem caps, those little caps on the tires. I mean, of course they change over time, but who cares? We never changed the cup holders, in 14 years, but suddenly I changed both of those the first week. And then the next week I get these buttons for the radio and I recognize that that's a bad idea and I don't install those. I'm proud of that. And then I get an organizer. It's like a T-shape that you put in your glove box and that works out. And then I get a grid thing. It's a grid. And you put that in the center console organizer. And that worked out. So, okay, now we're on a hot streak. The things are working out. And then I get liners. These rubber liners for all the little pockets on the doors. And any little cubbies in the car. They now have rubber liners with red trim. And at first I think, is that too much? But, I drive it for a week and there's no problems. I think, okay, that's fine. All right, let me just, before I continue telling that story, let me just update to panel 8 and say that what we're doing here, it's actually a lot. We're doing A5, A6, and then where it gets crazy is 31 pieces there, B20 times 20 and C16 times 11. I don't even really know what that stuff is, but we're going to see in a minute. All right. So that's 33 pieces. So we're going to go from 195 to 228. Does that sound right? So it sounds like we're almost done. I mean, it's like a 247 piece puzzle, and we're now up to 228. So basically, we're about to do the handle. So the liners, by the way, what is this? A whole nother copy? So remember this boards? If we'd have messed up, there was backup copies of both of these boards, backup of the pins. So they had us covered with these backup pieces. That's cool. I guess we're going to see these soon, B1 and B2. They're probably going to finish the handles. But what we need now, A5 and A6. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So the liners, I thought they looked sharp. I thought the liners looked sharp. They just go in sometimes in the door, at the bottom of the door, there's a place to put water bottles. They line that. By the way, the A sheet is now done. We finished our first sheet for this puzzle. It's completely empty. I'm throwing it in the garbage. So the liners looked good. And if I'd gotten the basic black rubber liners for all the pockets, it probably would have ended there. But the OEM seat covers, the OEM seats, the upholstery, it came with some red trim, red threading. It was very subtle, red threading, but because it came with it. By the way, I just want to remind you about this whole business with the B20 and the C16. I'm assuming that they're the same piece. Let's try to look at one to confirm. But we've seen before with this puzzle that if a board shows up on two different pieces, it gets two different names. So, alright, let's see. What does that say there? B20 times 20. B20 times 20. It even says it right on it. And then this one is C16. So, alright. I just want to get you a close-up. So this says C16 times 11. And then on this board, it says B20 times 20. And if you look at the instructions, it says exactly the same here. B20 times 20, C16 times 11. So it's the same piece. We're just going to put all around here, we're going to put those pieces. There's going to be 31 of them total. So I'm just going to be putting all those pieces around. So I put the liners in all the pockets. It's like anywhere there's a pocket, there's like a place to put your cell phone, a place to put water bottle. There's like a little shelf, anywhere there's a pocket, they made a liner. In the back of the car, like in the very back, because it's like a hatchback. It's a Toyota 4Runner. I mean, it's an SUV. They used to call them hatchbacks 30 years ago. Maybe when they were smaller. But anyway. So anywhere there's like something considered a cubby or a shelf or a holder, like a little drawer inside the glove box, inside the center console, they all got these rubber liners with this red trim. And I got the red trim because there were red threads in the upholstery. That's how they got me. So once they did that, then I thought I have to match that theme. So now the shifters they gave us that came OEM with the car is like two different shifters, and they are both like black and gray, but they look completely different. So I ordered like the 4-wheel drive shift and the automatic, PR and D whatever. That shift, they look a little different. The same color scheme, but they're like different shapes. So I've gotten matching shifters that are the same shape and the same like black and red. They're both black and red, and they're both the same shape. They didn't show up yet, but I ordered them. And I got floor mats, rubber floor mats. That's not too bad, right? Rubber floor mats, that's not too bad. Where it starts to get stupid, I think, if it's not already stupid with the shifters, is the seat covers. I know that seat covers are a common thing. Like, you started with fabric covers, and then 5 years later you put some leather seat covers on, because the fabric's gotten disgusting. That's like a normal thing to do. You don't normally put it on a new car, which I did today. I put the seat covers on today. And I thought, and they look nice actually. But the thing is, they're probably going to destroy the OEM seat covers that are underneath. And I'm thinking like, why am I doing this? And this is making me want to quit the review program. Like, why am I destroying my new car? And then what really almost made me cry, I got for the steering wheel some red accent. So before I got the 4Runner, I had driven a Tacoma rental to go pick up my son from college right before Christmas. And that's how, and then like a day or two later, whatever, that's when we got the, or maybe it was like 4 days later, whatever, that's when we got the 4Runner. And the Tacoma, had like a black steering wheel, and it had this yellow, like sort of an H shape. And then the Forerunner that I bought, it had a black steering wheel and a black H. They were the same color. And then someone had, you can buy these like plastic stickers that go on that H part and make it red. And I put them on today, and I wanted to cry. They not only, I should have known that they're not going to fit. Like, they fit, but they stick out. They add like, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch to the steering wheel. And just, they don't feel as secure as, they're just stickers that are like sitting, like plastic thing that's sitting on top. And I'd seen reviews from other people who like bought them and then didn't install them. And they were like, yeah, they look nice. They look like they're going to fit, but we decided not to. And that's what I should have done. Like, I got them, free for review. And I put them on. And probably I'm going to do a review video, and then I'm going to tear them off. And I hope I don't break the steering wheel when I do it, because now there's like 12 pieces of sticky tape on the steering wheel, like 6 on each side, because it's 2 pieces to create that H. You can look at the Tacoma Forerunner steering wheel, and you'll see it'll be obvious what part got the upgrade. And I thought like it was like so bad. Like, I was looking forward to when those shifters show up in the mail, but after doing the steering wheel and the seat covers today, I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I wanted to cancel the review. And then I thought, well, when I buy something online, I usually wait 25 hours before I click, because I don't want to be like, they put all that money into that psychology of how they're going to get you to buy, and I just want it to be like a fair fight. Like, I'm not against like buying products, but I just want to have like a 24-hour like cool down period before I actually buy anything. So I thought, let me institute that same thing with quitting the review program, because I don't know if they'll ever invite me back into it. So I didn't quit it. I've got like probably 50 of these puzzles. So even if I quit it, it'll be like 2 years before I run out of puzzles. And by then, I'll probably figure out how to do the show without needing puzzles to put together. I don't want it to be political commentary. I want it to be quality, like, stuff. Politics just feels so cheap to me. I know that in a way it's important, but it's all bullshit. I mean, come on. Everybody knows the border is supposed to be closed. Like, why are we pretending that there's 2 sides to that argument? Everyone wants the economy to be good. Why are we entertaining like communism? Like, I know that I'm probably triggering some people because they've probably been trained to think opposite. And maybe I have some opinions that are wrong. But that's even more reason not to do politics. I mean, if you're like competent enough to vote, you can figure out how to vote. You don't need me to come on every day and cry about politics. I just think, I know that it's like right now it's a very popular thing. Like, I mean, Donald Trump left being a businessman to be a politician, so it's obviously like, a very important thing right now. Like, Nancy Pelosi made like 190 million like in the stock market. Basically, I'm not going to call it insider trading, but whatever she did, it had something to do with politics. It's obvious that it's like ascendant at this moment, but I still don't want to get involved in it. To me, it's brain rot. You're never going to get anywhere. A political discussion is never going to get anywhere. Like, there's people, I don't know. Maybe these aren't the world's best examples, but like Jeff Foxworthy, Chris Rock, those are kind of people that I respect. Like, get up there and do like a comedy routine, Jerry Seinfeld. Can just talk, and people can be entertained by that. So I'm like far from that point. I probably will never reach it. I mean, obviously these people I named are like the biggest people ever to exist in the business, so I'm sure that I'll never reach that. But you don't have to reach that. I mean, if you reached Jerry Seinfeld level of comedy, you'd be making like whatever 200 million per day or whatever he makes. I'm just talking about, a podcast that 50 people listen to while falling asleep. Like I think I can get to the point where I can do that without needing to put a puzzle together at the same time. I mean, I believe in myself at least that much. All right, how many of these do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more to go. So, I got like a closet full of puzzles to do. I already built the live streaming desktop studio. I already filled out my gym with all the equipment that I need. I don't need this I don't need this review program anymore. And in fact, it almost ruined my car. Like, I've come to my senses. I'm going to rip that stuff off my steering wheel after I do the review video. Maybe I'm going to take the seat covers off and hide them for 10 years until I need them. Like, legitimately need them. Not putting them on a new car. That's stupid. Which is what I've done today. So, I've sort of learned my lesson. I actually was thinking today, it was quite a good feeling. I was thinking about my primary job and thinking, what if I went all in on that? Because it's been like probably, I think it's been 10 years since I did that. I think there was a lot of talk about 2014. I did a lot of traveling that year. I worked every weekend. My son describes it as that year where we didn't see you. So the 2014 was a pretty crazy year. 10 years later, it's one son is at college. The other is getting his driver license next week. He'll be in college, in a year and a half. I mean, worst case scenario, in a year and a half, I'm going to be totally free to go all in on my day job. And I was thinking about that. Like, what would that really entail? Could I do that? I mean, I'm not getting any younger. But I could do it. I believe that I could. I believe there's some new skill areas that are in development right now, especially in mobile app forensic collection, where I can get into that and be like an industry leader. And it might be good timing for that. And, and that might be the last thing because I'm close to retirement. Right off into the sunset after that. But, yeah, I could make one more, take one more go at my real job. I mean, I know it's technically a dead-end job, but you can do some cool things even in a dead-end job. Alright, so we built this little handle. What's next? Oh, that was good. Because we were the theme for this model was job. So what did I just say? Oh, skill areas. Okay. Do some cutting-edge skill work at your job. Because I did a lot of that over the years. I mean, that's actually my history. Is like, something needs to be figured out. Work on that for 3 or 4 years till you create the industry standard, and then you can maybe relax for a year or two, and then there's going to be something else new, and you can go after that for the next 2 or 3 years, create a standard, someone else take over. Like, I've done that like already like 10 times or whatever, maybe 8 times. But anyway, I could do it one more time, maybe 2 more. I'm like 8 years from retirement. I can do that maybe 2 more times. Alright, so segment 3, panel 9, we're using 2 pieces. We looked at these pieces a minute ago, B1 and B2, and it looks like we're just snapping them onto this handle. The only thing I'm trying to figure out is it possible to mess that up? I don't think it is, because the handle has a certain shape to it. And I think as long as we're looking at it in the same shape, orientation as the instructions, and if we put, these are very textured pieces. They actually even, oh no, I thought they were going to be R and L, but it says L on both sides. It says L on both sides. Anyway, I think as long as we have the ink side out, they call it the pattern surface, but like one side is blank, one side has ink. It may not be ink, it may be thermal printing, but whatever. Basically, this is how it's going to go on. Because it has to go. Wow. We have to do 31 pins. There's no way that's easy. I know it's a very simple looking section. I just know from puzzle making that there's no way making 31 connections at once can ever be easy. Yeah, nothing's happening. I'm like pushing on this and nothing is happening. It doesn't, I don't have any of these pins going in. Alright, wow. Okay. Might take a minute to make 31 connections. And then we have to go on the other side and make another 31. So we're looking at 62 connections. 6 more and we'd have the basketball tournament. I know you're thinking 64, but at this point there's 4 play-in games. So it's 68 teams in the NCAA tournament these days. A couple of these are misaligned. That's why it's not done yet. Alright, I think we got something here. Now the other side should be easier, I think. You know, we didn't do any of those metal screws yet. There's a bag of metal screws here. We didn't do any of them yet. There's only 5 of them. Alright, we'll get to that soon enough. Why is that camera going blurry? Whatever. Alright, so we got a piece on this side. I think the second piece should be easier because it's now being held in place by the first side, but I guess we're going to find out right now. Will it be easier or not? Wow. It snapped on, but I also heard a piece fly out and ricochet off the backboard. Oh, by the way, you know what reminded me to how I didn't click? I just want to show you something. It's remember I was telling that I almost like quit that review program? So on the back of my table, you see this thing? It's like a background. Like every day I have a background. And I changed the background based on the puzzles. So today, when I was like almost quitting that review program, I was like talking to my wife, hovering, saying I'm going to quit. The mouse was like hovering over it. And all of a sudden, they put 3x5 background, exactly the size I use for my streaming. But it's based on Rogue, like Rogue fitness equipment. Which is like, so that one will probably be used. I have a truss here in my, just to show you again. So I have like metal truss. It has like side and top. And then I use magnets to set that background up. So in the gym, I have metal, similar structure. But when it's in a gym, it's called a squat rack, not a truss. When it's on a desk with electronic equipment, then it's called a truss. So I've got now this Rogue 3x5 flag showing up. So that was the item. Like I was saying I was quit. I was committed to quit. Nobody was ejecting. And then all of a sudden that shows up. And I'm like, okay, let me just grab this. And then while I was clicking that button, I thought, you know what? Let me give it the 24-hour rule and see how I feel tomorrow. And I've sort of, because now it's been like 12 hours or whatever. I sort of feel like I guess I'll stay in, but I don't know how. You have to do 100 items every 6 months, I'm going to have to start doing like trash bags, napkins, like plastic, like cups. I mean, it's going to have to be really small, easy to review stuff that I would like buy anyway. I mean, I can't fit any more crap in my house, and it really is crap. I mean, not to insult this like thing. I mean, it's a nice thing. You know, it's a nice way to spend your time, but you can't like fill your house with these like wooden models. Don't get me wrong, it's great. I mean, I also wouldn't fill my house with Beatles albums. So it's not that I'm saying they're bad. I just don't have room in my house for them. All right, is this still considered segment 3? All right, so segment 3, panel 10. So of course when we do that, it jumps from 39 to 310 because that's kind of the way we're using those numbers. All right, so it says just like stick it in there. I mean, I guess the next instruction is going to say like put pins in, but I guess for now we're just supposed to stick it in there. They want it flipped over for some reason. Is that like an easier way to do it? What's going on in there? It's a lot of room. It's like extra room. I'm not sure how to line this up. Yeah, I don't see. Are we going to put 2 screws through there in the next instruction? I guess, right? That is like, look at that handle. That's a ridiculous handle. All right. 311. There we go. 311 is all 5 screws, and then we're done building this thing. We're about to finish. 311 is all 5 screws. All right. The top 2 panels we didn't keep track of, so that brings us to 230. And then the screws, they actually have 2 parts. There's like 2 parts to each screw. If you look at the screws, you see the little part and the big part. So to do 5 screws, both sides, that's actually 10 pieces, so that brings us up to 240. I don't know what these other 7 pieces are. Maybe we'll never find them. But anyway, that's a close-up of the screw mechanism, 2 parts. And then here's the map of where they go. As if you couldn't guess anyway, they go where the big circles are. So, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see a big circle. That's where the screw assembly goes. You know, pretty simple, right? Do these screws take screwdrivers, or how do they work? I guess we're gonna find out. So the people on YouTube are missing the conclusion of this puzzle because YouTube doesn't have their act together. They added this chat feature. I don't know when they added it, but the people that you chat to, they don't have any sort of authority other than to like look. My impression, I could be wrong, is that they don't have any sort of authority other than to like look up public information that's actually already online, and if the search function worked, you know, then if the search function did like perfect language processing and understanding, then the people on the YouTube, you know, partner, creator, support, whatever it's called, they're basically not doing anything better than, I don't want to insult them, but all the information they give you is public information that anyone who knew how to use the search functions could look up for themselves. How about that? Does that sound like a fair description? All right. This didn't go in on the first attempt. How are we going to keep it like halfway through? There's nothing like... Failed twice already. There's nothing to keep this handle at the halfway point. Let me try the top one. Maybe that one's easier. Oh, okay. I see what's going to keep it there. We're going to tuck the whole thing in. That's what's going to keep it there. And that's what makes the screw go through. You have to get it in there nice and tight. Yeah, there we go. All right, we got one screw in. It's not tightened, though. All right, there is... Did they give us a screwdriver with this set? I don't think they did. Oh, they did. They did give us a screwdriver. We just hadn't used it for 9 nights, so I didn't think of it. I think someone could do this in like 4 or 5 hours. If they weren't live streaming and talking to themselves. Why did that not go in? It's supposed to. Did it not hook with the other side? It's possible that it didn't. Right, I'm going to back that off and try to get this on. I think it's not lining up with the screw. And that's why it's not screwing on. I don't think I'm saying anything too shocking here. The screw's not going on because it's not lined up. Yeah. Nothing's catching there. See, this is another advantage of doing a show without a puzzle. Sometimes you got to struggle to do the puzzle. Not to say that it isn't a struggle to do like a comedy-based show, but you can sort of have your jokes prepared in advance, like basically in advance. Like you're not going to get stuck. You're not going to, well, you could. You could get heckled. Well, I guess not on a podcast. You could, but you could ignore it. It would be in chat. I don't know. Like I just dropped the screw. That's not going to happen when you're doing a comedy routine. Or will it? Do you ever drop a screw when you're doing your comedy routine? Maybe you do. I don't know. Metaphorically speaking. Well, I'm going to drop another screw because I don't think this is lined up. Yeah. It's not just that it's not lined up. I feel like it's not even reaching. Like I can't even get it to reach. So I'm going to go back to trying the other one. If I look in there, can I see it? I found the screw that I dropped. Excuse me, I found the screw that I dropped. Okay, I definitely can see. If I look close, I can see where this is supposed to go. And it is lined up perfectly. So why is it not catching? I have to maybe squeeze it tighter together. Wow. Lined up perfectly but doesn't screw in. Why? Maybe it's not lined up perfectly. Yeah, that is far away. I wish it were a little longer, but I guess what they're going for is making it tight. I wonder if I have a longer screw than I could use. It definitely looks like right here it kind of sticks out. Like I could maybe squeeze that tighter. I feel like the point of the screw is to squeeze it tighter. But I can't get the screw started. I think it caught. No, it didn't. All right. I don't think my wrench is going to reach around this. But maybe the other side will. We originally tried the other side and it didn't work. Let's see if we can see. Yeah. This is far away. Okay. I'll tell you what's the problem. Right here. That's the problem. That needs to be squeezed tighter. How can we do that? I'm going to put it on like the edge of the table and push it. It might squeeze and break other things, but we got to try, right? Otherwise, we're just going to fail. All right. I felt something squeezed together. Don't think it went together enough, though. I don't think my wrench will fit over this. It's not even a wrench. They're pliers. Yeah, it doesn't fit. Okay. I'm going to try again. I got it maybe a little micro, closer. But I think it's still not close enough. Yep, definitely not close enough. What if I go in with just the screwdriver? That worked. That worked. I got it lined up. Let's see if we can get the screw in there now. Yep. So, the secret was go in with just the screwdriver to guide the screw through to the other side. Then once you've got it on the other side, then drop the screw in. Probably everybody who's good with tools figured that out before me. Which is fine, like a team or whatever. I make a fool of myself and you guys laugh at it. That's teamwork, right? That's something like that. It's one of the reasons I stopped gaming. Online gaming, I don't know how popular that is with people, but it was a time when it was like very popular to play online first-person shooters and compete against the other people. And at some point, I felt like, what is my role here? Just like to be here so that other people can have someone to beat? Like, I eventually decided that wasn't a good way to spend my time. Like, that never happens in anything else. Like, if you play like football or basketball or soccer, you feel like they score, you score, like you've got a chance. Like, when I played those online first-person shooters, I was like, what am I doing here? I'm just here for these people to, like, dominate, and I have, like, no chance. I felt like it, like, wasn't, it didn't make sense for me to keep, doing it. And some people are like, oh, you need to study the map, you need to study the weapons, you need to practice. I was like, do I? Do I need to do that? Like, why do I need to do that? What are these video game developers ever done for me that I'm supposed to, like, put all my time and energy into learning the rules they made up for their fake universe? Like, really? It's not really like, I don't really feel the need to do that. I know I'm right now assembling some wooden model and probably have no, what's the word? Credibility or something to stand on, but that's how I kind of felt about that situation. And you might say, oh, so you were bad at it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was bad at it. Yeah. So I'm not going to keep doing it. I mean, yeah, if that makes, if that's the way to say it that makes sense, then yeah, I was bad at it. I stopped doing it. But I'm also bad at running marathons, but I don't stop running. Somehow, when you run a marathon, or when you run a 5K, or when you jog 5K by yourself at the park, you have this feeling that you've done something for your betterment. Like when you go online, for a couple hours, so other people can shoot you, and sometimes they would like curse at you and make fun of you, and I was like, oh, that's a lot of gratitude. I mean, you're the one getting the victory and all the like positives out of this game, and you're also gonna like make fun of me. Like, how is that gonna make me want to show up to game tomorrow? Yeah, so a lot of things about that online gaming experience were just not doing it for me. Maybe casuals. As some people say, oh, you're casual. Like play Angry Birds or something like that. Yeah, I don't think Angry Birds going to keep me entertained that long. But getting shot by, I don't know what, probably 15-year-olds, whoever's doing the shooting in those online shooter games, like that's not really working for me. Don't have a lot of time for that. I can't get this one in. Oh, there we go. It often goes in as soon as I say. It's like that open sesame, right? I gotta say more things, because I notice that a lot of times you say stuff and then it happens, and it's like, maybe I should say more stuff. Because it'll happen, There's a lot of people who do that, right? Like Trump is one of those people, and we're talking about this Winchester gun from the Schwarzenegger movie Terminator. Schwarzenegger's one of those people. They'll like get on, a talk show or whatever, and they'll just say that they'll describe the thing that they're doing as like the best, greatest, you can't miss, this is the thing. And really it's like arguably no different from any other thing. But, and in their eyes, in their mind, it's the best, greatest, absolute must thing. So I need to do the last screw, and this bullet is like in the way. So I lifted that bullet up temporarily. I'll put it back in a second after I get this screw in. There we go. The screw is in. Let's get the other end screwed, and then we'll put that bullet back on. Because what if it doesn't go in? Let's get it screwed in. Put the bullet back on. Good. Done. All right. So that took longer than 15 minutes, I can tell you, because my iPad timed out. You see that black screen? That black screen is what it looks like when my iPad times out. All right. Can I get back in there? Now, what's left? Is that the last page? All right, so we just did this handle. Oh, you don't see what I'm doing. We just did the handle. We just did the 5 screws, which is 10 screw components. And then, what is this? There's nothing left. There's nothing left. On 311, we're done. There's the characters. We already did the characters. Did we count the characters when we did them? Because we only got to 240, and it's supposed to be 247. I think we already counted those characters. If not, that would bring us to 249, because they're 3 each. Anyway, I believe we're supposed to test it. What is this gameplay introduction? Common problems and solutions. I don't know. Pull the hammer back, insert one end of the... Pull the hammer back, insert one end of the rubber band into the aiming slot. Place the other end of the rubber band into the rubber band chuck. Hammer, slot, chuck. Repeat steps 2-4. Do not rotate the chuck for the last shot. Reload 6 to 8 rounds. Pulling the trigger allows for 1 shot. Oh, sorry. Let me make this bigger. You see what I'm reading. Pull the trigger guard lever. Pull the trigger to shoot. Allows for 1 shot. Pull the trigger. I'm not sure I really follow this, but let's give it a shot. Alright, so pull the hammer back. Pull the hammer back. Alright, it doesn't stay back. Pull the hammer back, but nothing happens. What if I do that? Still nothing happens. Is something supposed to... Oh, there. That time it stayed back. So I pulled the hammer back and stayed back. I don't know what I did right that time. Alright, now insert one end of the rubber band into the aiming slot. Alright, let's do that. Let's get some of this crap off the screen. Just have our targets left. I guess our ammo. Oh, what happened to that guy? Oh, I can leave that zoomed in just till I load it. And then I'll pull back the zoom. Can't get the rubber band bag open. By the way, it says running out of battery, 9%. Now it's 8%. I could plug a cord in, but I think we'll get this done before it runs out. All right, so we put the rubber band on. Now we're supposed to rotate backwards. So did that work? Yeah, we rotated that backwards. Okay. So then we put another rubber band on, right? And again, go there. Repeat 2 to 4 times. Alright, so we should do it 4 times. The last shot, we're not gonna rotate. Alright, let's assume we could get 6 shots in there. So 2 more, and then we put on one without rotating. Okay. Oops. Shot just rang out. Why so many rubber bands? I don't need this many. Okay, thank you. Thank you for all the rubber bands. It's like a lot of rubber bands. It looks like spaghetti. Or maybe ramen. No, ramen would be curlier. Alright, so for the last one, we're not going to rotate it. So no rotate after this last one. Alright, let's pull back here. Or maybe even... okay, for the... What? I just pulled the trigger and nothing happened. Pulling the trigger allows for 1 shot. Alright, pull the hammer back. Nothing shot. do like that. It's not shooting. Alright, let's try again. Now it's not even... This whole time we were building this trigger was working. Now, okay, it works, but the chuck doesn't move. Why not? What a shame. The trigger is supposed to move it, right? Why does it only move back? Alright, let's read that part about common problems. Sighting shot, rubber band, chuck, front sight, driving hammer, trigger guard. Common problems. Activity structure problem. No need to open play a few times will be smooth. Occasionally 2 rounds will fire at once. A rubber band chuck may be loaded. Pull trigger too slowly. Quick can pull. Pull trigger too slowly. Quick pull can avoid problems. So, alright. I guess we're supposed to do this quicker. No, it just doesn't do anything. Something, the spring just fell out. That's probably not a good sign, huh? How is it still firing without the spring? I don't even remember where that spring went. Did it go in the chuck somewhere? Okay, we've once again created something that doesn't fire. Sadly, that's par for the course. I think what I'm gonna do is, I don't know what that spring was supposed to do, but it was probably important. Sorry. I'll have to pull this apart and try to fix it. So the chuck wasn't moving. Maybe that spring is supposed to move it. I don't know. There's only 3% battery left on my YOLO box. So I'm John Rapp. This is Just Rest Your Eyes. Good night and see you tomorrow.